Hello everyone, this is Tina from Tina's Workshop, and as promised I've got some more crocheting for you, and today I actually want to crochet with you the first written crochet pattern, and it was actually written in French, and then it has been translated because I do not speak French, so it has been translated. And it was what's funny is it was in a knitting book, the ladies knitting and netting book, 1837 in Britain. Everything in this book was written in English except for this one crochet pattern. And but when crocheting first started, I'm going to put you down so you can see the same papers I'm looking at. I think you would rather see this than looking at my face the whole time. So I will link this down below. I've been actually looking for this for a while and I could not find it. And there's another YouTuber I watch, Just Vintage Crochet, and I will link her down below too. And she actually worked this pattern and the next pattern that I'm going to do in my next video. And she did both of these, and she linked this website where she had found the patterns at. And so then I went to this website, which is Little World of Whimsy, and I will link that. And she has the information for both of these patterns and a little bit of history on crocheting itself. And what's really kind of neat, so here's some basic images with the crochet hook. But with how it originated and stuff, and let me see, I want to show you this specific page. I should have had it ready, but I was thinking it was towards the front. Here we go. So when they first started crocheting, they think it all kind of originated here with this shepherd's knitting. And so they have this hook-like thing that they're using to work these bits here. And when I saw this image, it made me think of this crochet hook that I actually carved a number of years ago out of a piece of driftwood. And it's very flat, and then I put the hook at the end. So that's all I did. This I left the way it was, and I just added the hook onto it. But it made me think of this, because when I made this hook, I haven't really used it because it's not, I can't say, okay, it's this specific size. It's, the size is going to vary, but that's like what they have here. Basically, they just had something with a hook so that they could work into these stitches. So it made me think of this, and this is what they had very first started with. And then their hooks evolved from that, and they got what we're more used to today. And this one is an itty bitty one, similar to this here. This is a set I have that I got from my mom's stuff, and you can see how itty bitty that one is. And these are all made from either bone or ivory. This one I actually got at a secondhand craft store that we have around here, and I do not know why it twists. I have no idea if anybody knows. It's actually been broken here too. But this one I picked up because I thought it was really cool, and I was only paying like $1 for it. Let me see it better there. And then getting into my great-grandmother's stuff, which I thought I would use potentially. So these were hers that she used, and she did the very small stuff. And I mean, that's actually the length of the hook right there. That's how long that hook is. Same with this one. They were short, and she had such small hooks. This one has a little sleeve, and you see how tiny that hook is. I mean, she used thread when she was doing this kind of stuff. This one, she's got a little cork on, and you can just hardly see that hook right there. I mean, it's so itty bitty. But these were the ones that she had used. And these ones here that of my mom's, there's some that they've got a little bit of a larger hook to them. But you can see again, this one's a flat one, similar to what we were seeing there. So anyway, so it's really interesting to read through this and see the origins of crochet, because that's, I mean, this pattern is only from, what did I say, 1837. So that's the first known written crochet pattern, is 1837. There's knitting stuff from even before that, but 1837. And this is the pattern printed from the book, and then it was translated. So I'm going to work with the translation. Now, before I watched the video that Just Vintage Crochet had done, and I think she actually got this pattern pretty dead on. The next pattern that I want to do, that's printed in English, I researched after watching her videos and looked at the styles and things like that that were around at this time. I also went back because this next one had a complete book, and it was knitting and crocheting in that book. And I went through the whole book and I looked at how different things were being done, and where I knit to, I could look at the different patterns and understand different things that were being done. And then looking at the fashion from then, I think I figured out how this other pattern is supposed to go. And I think it's a little different than how she had done hers. But I mean, it's a complete guessing game. And I don't know why I just closed that. It's a complete guessing game because you have very, very little information. Nowadays, our patterns, they have what yarn you're going to use, what the weight is, what the hook is you're using, what your gauge is going to be, what your different terms mean. And then each thing is very specific, generally, if you have a good pattern, as to what is happening in every row. And when you get into these ones, they're very, very limited in what they say. It just says, like on this one, this is the translated again. So, and it's written in French, but this is your English UK terms. So double stitch is going to be a single crochet for us if you're in the United States. So instructions with a crochet hook and double stitch. You must begin with 8 stitches in the first round. You must increase in each stitch until you finish with 16 stitches. The rule is to increase 8 stitches in each round for a medium length. Increase until there are 100 stitches. For a shorter one, 80 stitches. Always work with one plain round between each increase round. That's the extent of this pattern. That's all the information they tell you. They don't tell you what yarn to use. They don't tell you what hook to use. And they don't even really tell you how to do your increases. Now they would be saying, okay, work 2 single crochets or doubles into each of your single crochets from the round before. And your patterns fully explain how to do this. They figure you already understand what this is supposed to look like at the end. And this is all the information they give you. So for this one specifically, I think it's actually going to work. They would have, I apologize if you heard the noise in the background. My husband was watching TV and the volume started to go up. Okay, so this is going to make a little purse, a little handbag. In that time era, a lot of times it was called a reticule. And the women would have carried, I guess, when I started to look it up, trying to see what women would have carried in it, in a sense, it's a lot like what we would carry nowadays, except obviously they don't have technology and stuff, but they might have carried a little mirror or a handkerchief and maybe lipstick if, they had that type of thing. And, just different little things, maybe a little thing of perfume or something. They would have carried all these types of things with them. If they had a key, most parts, in that time era, I mean, there's one skeleton key that a house would have had, and maybe they would have carried it, maybe their spouse would have carried it. Maybe they had servants and they didn't have to worry about that. But anyway, they would have just carried those basic little things that women like to have on hand. Before their reticules and purses, they actually had these very large pockets that were sewn into the sides of their skirts. And all those items would go into there. But as fashion started to change and they didn't have these large pockets anymore, then they started carrying these small purses or reticules. So, what I've decided to do, since I do not know yarn weight to use, I don't know the size hook or anything, I am figuring back then you weren't buying really commercial yarn. You were probably spinning it yourself or buying it from someone who has hand spun it. So I decided to use this that I spun myself. And it is, that's right, I wasn't positive on that one. I think it's merino. I spun 93 yards of it, but I think it was merino. The fiber had been a gift, and I didn't have a tag on this one. And I had asked her about it one time, and I think she said it was merino. But anyway, it's a very soft wool. It's not spun perfectly. I was still learning. Heck, I'm still learning now. But I just thought this might have been similar to something they might have used. And then let's see. Let's see what we have for a yarn weight here. So it's kind of a DK, I'm going to say. I don't think, yeah, it's not quite a worsted. I'm going to say I'm about at a DK here. And I think, I was thinking about using one of these older hooks since we're doing an older pattern. But let me see what we have for sizes here. That flat one might be this flat one might end up being a better one, but let's see if I can get one that's just a little. That one's, those are about the same. These three are all right about the same size. This one I think is just a little too big. This is, where was this the other day when I was looking for hook sizes? That one's definitely too small, and I think that down there isn't all. That one's a needle. See the big flat needle? And yep, that's a little all. So go back into here and see what these ones were. Oh yeah, those are really small. Well, let's try, what's this one? That was really small. Okay. I kind of want to try one of these ones. And, oh, look, that one has, I bet you that one works similar to this one, but I can't get this one to fully unscrew. I think we'll try this. Okay, so we are going to start with a magic ring, partially because I like magic rings, and partially because they don't tell you which way to do it, so I'm going to do the way I want to do it. So we're going to start with a magic ring, and we're going to chain, and we're going to do 8 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And then I'm going to tighten down my ring and join. So now we're going to work in the round. Oops, I split that. Don't want to do that. Okay, so we're going to work in the round, and now we're going to do the increasing. So we want to increase to 16 stitches, which means we're going to do 2 single crochet or double stitches, they said here, UK, but we're going to do 2 single crochet into each stitch around. And I'm starting to think this hook might be a little small, but I also don't want it to be really loose, because if you're using it as a purse, unless you line it, you're going to want it done tightly. And I think when I get to the end of the round, I am going to place a marker, and I'm just going to keep working in the round because I'm doing a single crochet, so I'm not going to create a line and go up the whole time. So I will just continue to work in the round here. So now we're going to work a plain row, and then we're going to increase again. So our normal increasing that you do when you're working in the round, because we started with 8, it will always be an 8 that we're increasing with. So our second increase round will be to crochet 1 and crochet 2 in our stitches around. So we'll increase each time that way. The next round we'll do crochet into 2 stitches and then crochet 2 into 1. And then the round after that will be crocheting 3 stitches, crocheting 2 into 1. So we'll continue to do that until we get to 100 stitches in total, our total count. So a round of increase, a plain round, a round of increase, a plain round. So I'm going to continue to work. I will fast forward through some, and I may pause and skip ahead through some. And I'm also going to try and get this thing to stop focusing and refocusing. Okay. So my favorite stitch marker to use is actually the tail. As long as I can go and keep using the tail, I like to use the tail. If I drop it, it's not going anywhere. So I like to use that. Did I miss? I think I missed. I did. I lost one of my loops right there. Okay. Oh. Oh. I started increasing, and I'm not supposed to be increasing in this round. Don't mind me, I wasn't paying attention. Use a bowl my husband made. Keep my yarn contained. We are up to 32 stitches, so we still have a ways to go, but that's where we're at 32 stitches. And you know, this would be pretty to, if you had beads, and to work beads in. And I did notice in a lot of these older patterns that they talked about utilizing beads. And there's a number of different ways that you can add beads into your projects, but this would have been really pretty with some beads in it. So I'm on a 3-stitch row increase. We are at 48 stitches, so we are halfway there, so be about this much taller before we're done. So I am now on to my 5-stitch increase. Okay, so we hit the 80. So it said how you could stop at 80 if you wanted to do a shorter one or work to 100, which I'm going to work to 100. But this is where it would have stopped at 80, which is really, really small with the size yarn and hook we have. So I'm going to keep going till 100 and we'll see how it looks. Okay, we got to our 100 stitches and this is what we have. Now that's the extent of the instructions. They do not say anything past that. So this would be your completed object. Obviously it's not. So they just expect you to know what you're doing from that point. And I think I'm actually going to do 2 more rounds because I need to have a drawstring. So I think I'm going to do 2 more rounds, and on the next round I'm going to do a single crochet. I think I'm going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and then do another round to kind of hold that one in. So that way the chain 1 will give me little spaces I need to then make a cord that I can pull into it and have a drawstring. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go around and do 2 more rows so that I can complete that off. So now I'm going to actually, because I'm going to do a double crochet, I'm going to actually go up a row. So I'm going to do a slip stitch here just so I bring this row down to an even point. And actually, you know what? I'm not going to even do that. I'm going to take that slip stitch back out and bring, I'm going to chain 1 there. Just going to bring that up and do my do it that way. Nope, I'm going back to the way I was doing it the first time. I'm slip stitching. I'm going to chain 3, so I have a double crochet, chain 1. I'm going to skip 1 and double crochet into that next one here. Yeah, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. So now I'll have where I can thread a drawstring through. So I'm going to do that all the way around. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. Okay, so I made it all the way around that round, and I think just to do something a little decorative, I'm going to do a shell stitch for this last row. So I'm going to do 5 double crochets, and I'm going to skip 2 spaces and work into the 3rd space, and I already counted and it should work all the way around. So I'm going to do 5 double crochets, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then skip 2 and slip stitch. You know, kind of smushed. I think I might try that again, but with trebles, and see if it stands up a little bit better. So right again with trebles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 2, slip stitch. So that's how that would look. I'll do a couple more and see what I think. I think it just makes the top look a little bit nicer, fancier, whatever. So I'm going to continue like that all the way around, and I will come back at the end. Okay, so I made it all the way around. I actually did the way it worked out. I mean, it worked out, but there was like one space that I didn't have. So the last shell I did the double crochet because I had a smaller space I was doing it in, but I don't think anybody would notice that without saying something. It kind of curls in because of the fact that I didn't do any increases. So I've just done 3 rows basically, and then did this. And so it kind of curls in, but I kind of like that because then when it gets opened up, there's still like this little bit of lip that's going to hold things in. So I am going to fasten this off. These were scissors that were my great grandmother's. So I'm just going to clip that and trying to think how I wanted to finish it off, but I'll go ahead and pull it through that way. And then let's see. This is one of my favorite things to do if you have not done this before. You have a pin that you can take the center out of, but the cap still works to close. This is a great way to keep your needles in, of course. Oh, there they are. This one I also had a crochet hook in, itty bitty one, but it's perfect for keeping your needles in. It's about the same size as your hook, so it fits in your cases the same way. That's my little tip of the day, my favorite way to house my needles. So I am going to weave in these two ends, and then we will do our straps and decide if we want to put in any extra decoration to it. Okay, so ends are woven in. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to make the straps, the ties, the whatever you want to call them, to the drawstrings. There we go, drawstrings. And I think I'm going to do a double drawstring so that you'll pull it and they'll tighten like that. So I'm going to do, I guess I'll just do a chain, and so the chain needs to be long enough to go all the way around this, and we'll do two of them so that way we can string it, string the other one, pull it tight. So I'm going to okay, I did 150 chain stitches, which brings it all the way around and then gives me enough room to then be able to tie it. So I think that's what I'll do the second one. So 150 chain stitches. I'm gonna do the second one. I'll be right back. Okay, so I think I'm gonna try and use, let's see, will this work? No, maybe not. I need a needle that's going to be big enough. I guess you're going to get a preview. I want to eventually do a null binding video, and I've videotaped myself. I made this needle for that, and I think this might work to use for this because the needle is going to be much bigger, and then I can use that to weave through here. So I'm just going to go in and out, and go all the way around. Trying to see if I could even tell where that, oh, there it is. Okay, I think I'm going to start there. So I'm just going to go in and out those chain spaces I made all the way around. And then I will go from the opposite side and do the other one. So they are going to go all the way around the whole little back. First time I've actually used this needle, and it works really nicely. So that's always a fun thing. Okay, so, oh, no, thought I was back to the beginning already. I just picked up loose threads on my table. So, okay. Back to the beginning. I have one little line there, break between them, and we want to even, these are going to be evened up, and I'm going to just do a regular little overhand knot right here at the end, and just like that. And I'm going to trim these ends. They don't need to be that long. Make sure they're nice and tight there at the end though. Trim them off leave a tiny tail. It's not going to matter none. So that's the way I'm going to end it. And then I will even these out. And now I'm going to start at the opposite side over here, and we will do the same thing with the other string. And through the hole. Okay. So that should be halfway. And so now you can see the other strings in there too, so just don't get caught up in it. So by doing that double crochet, I think that was better because it gave me enough space for this to fill in. And I think that's going to work perfectly. Now, something that you saw on a lot of these old little reticules or purses, they would do little tassels hanging from the bottom. And I'm thinking that I might do that. We'll look at this after I get this part done and see. And I have enough yarn left that I should be able to do a little tassel, and we could attach a little tassel to hang from the bottom. And I think that might be kind of cute. I'm really glad I ended up using this yarn. I think the size of it was good, even though this is very small, but their reticules were small. I mean, I don't think they really had that much in a sense that they carried in them. I mean, like I said, I've looked up some of the things that they would have carried, but I don't know. I just don't think women carried as much. There wasn't as many things that they felt as dependent on. I mean, you didn't carry a wallet around with you. You might have had some coins, you know, things like that. But okay, so there is a little bag. Let's move stuff out of the way. You put your little items here. Very old, right? Put some little items in there and some chapstick, okay? And then you would just pull it shut. And there was your little bag. I think this is like super cute. And then you could pick it up like this and put it on your wrist and carry it. So the little tassel then hanging from here, I think that could be really cute. So I think I will do that. I think I'll add the little tassel to it. Put it back up. Take our stuff back out. Okay, now I have a tassel maker, but I don't feel like locating it right now. So I'm going to use, let's see, trying to decide how big I want that tassel. I could use this, or maybe I will just use this. This would give us, yeah, I think that would give us a big enough tassel. Okay. So I'm just going to wrap a whole bunch of times. I'm not even going to count. I'm just going to wrap until I decide it is the size I want. And it's just a small little bag. We just need a small little tassel, right? It's probably good. Okay. I'll snip that right there. So that's going to end up at the bottom of this. I'm going to snip a piece. And I should have put this in ahead of time. I didn't. I will just thread it right through here. Like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie this off. And then snip these off at the end with some sharper scissors. Okay. And I think I'm going to pull this around one more time and do another tie on it, because I couldn't pull it super. Ooh, I pulled it very tight that time. Okay, let's cut another piece, and let's not tie it so tight this time, because we need that to attach it to the purse. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now need another little piece to do so we can create our little head on our tassel. It always looks like a head to me. It reminds me of making little yarn dolls when I was young, and that would be our head. So the head of the tassel. Okay, just wrap it around a few times, make our little head. There we go. And we'll tie it off without pulling too tight. And then this one hangs down nicely. The other one is going to stick up. So if you haven't done tassels before, it's always good to then take this, poke it in, and pull it down through, and your tassels all hang nice and straight. Come down here to the end, make sure our end is nice and straight. So there's our little tassel. Push our stuff out of the way again. And we are going to take our crochet hook, just like you would add a pom-pom onto a hat. We are going to add our tassel on our back. So pull one thread string through, and the other side here, and pull the other one through. And then come in here to the center. We'll tie it off. And you have two options. If you think you're going to be washing this at all, you could tie it in a bow, and then you would be able to take the ends off. If you do not plan on washing it, then you can tie it into a knot and weave your ends in. And I don't think I'm going to end up washing it. If for some reason I do end up washing it, I will be very careful and definitely not put it in a dryer, which you're not going to do anyway with the fact that it's wool. So I'm just going to weave those ends in, put them off, and our bag is almost done. Okay, come on, pull through. There we go. Okay, so there's our little bag, all completed with its little tassel. Move these things out of the way so that you can see the, without that distracting. There we go. Okay. So there is our little bag. What do you guys think? I think this actually turned out really cute. Actually, really, I'm actually more pleased with how it came out than I thought I was going to be. There we go. You can see it a little bit better. How cute is that? And because of the way this pulls, you don't even have to tie this or anything. I mean, that's not coming apart. You're holding it, it's not going to come apart. Just the right size to put a couple things in. Even with us now, if you were not carrying your cell phone and you just wanted to put some lipstick in your car key or something in there, you totally could, but you could make this a little bit bigger to the size where you could put your cell phone in it. You know, even with the same pattern, just using a bigger hook and thicker yarn, you could totally do this. So I encourage you guys to give it a try, and I will, like I said, put the links in the description down below. I started with 93 yards, and this is all I have left. So, and the size of the hook that I was using was a D. So size D hook, sport weight yarn, 93 yards. That's how I did it. And this is the size that it came out. So it gives you an idea. And while I was working, I did realize let's see, where's the other hook? This hook that has the little screw in it actually screws into the hook I was using. And I didn't realize that until I was working on it for a while. So that creates a double-ended hook because they do happen to be the same size. And that's probably what this one here was. Because if you look at it, it's just the same. And this end was broke, but I haven't been able to get it apart. So I didn't know. But with this one here, I'm sure that's what it was. So little thing solved. A little bit of history. This was really fun. And okay, so this is my second time recording the outro because my connection didn't want to connect with the computer, so it was recording, but there was no image on the computer. So anyway, here's a little bag, and I really hope you and guys, and you blah, 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 blah. I said it better the first time. Hope you and guys enjoyed this. I really enjoyed doing it, and I'm really excited for next week's video, which will be the first crochet pattern written in English. And it's another style of bag, but it's a little different, and I'm really kind of excited about doing that one. And I don't want to give too much away, so I hope you guys will come back next week and see that. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. Click subscribe if you'd like to see more, and click that notification if you'd like to be notified when I upload. And I hope to see you all back here again soon. Bye.